Now at 6, Joplin firefighters battle a fire in a historic downtown building. Plus, a local election official responds to a new Missouri law that modifies the election process. And some kids in Miami, Oklahoma take advantage of the nice weather to learn a thing or two about fitness.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Joplin firefighters battle a blaze in a historic downtown building. This is KOAM News at 6. Fire was reported in the 120-year-old Carnegie Library building around 5 this morning. Smoke was coming from the basement. Authorities declared it under control shortly after 8 this morning, but this afternoon that fire rekindled. The library stopped operating that old building in the late 1970s. It's now privately owned. Authorities say the building has significant damage in the basement, along with fire and smoke damage to the upper floors. There's also water damage to all floors. However, the roof remains intact and the building is apparently sound. No word yet on the cause of that fire. A Lawrence County, Missouri man takes an Alford plea following a homicide investigation from 2019. Officials initially charged Matthew Abney with several crimes, including first-degree murder, abandonment of a corpse, and tampering with evidence. It stems from the 2019 shooting death of Abney's roommate, Coy Cole. Abney took an Alford plea, which means he maintains his innocence but admits there is enough evidence to convict him. Most of the charges against Abney were dropped, and the first-degree murder charge was changed to second-degree murder. Authorities sentenced Abney to 30 years in prison. A new Missouri law is changing the voting process. Some activists say it's voter suppression. Others say it's just accountability. KOAM's Amber Jenkins has more.
Governor Mike Parson has signed the controversial voting bill into law, House Bill 1878. The law, also known as the Election Integrity Bill, will require voters to have a photo ID in order to vote. The law has had mixed reactions since it first appeared on the 2016 ballot.
House Bill 1878 was the election integrity bill that the legislature worked on for several years and finally got it passed this year. And it encompasses so many different things, but the vast majority of it is accountability and reliability of our election systems.
Jasper County Clerk Davis supports the law because he said it holds voters and the election system accountable.
There is nothing in this bill that is going to change the way that Jasper County does our elections or maintains our equipment. Everything that we do, all the equipment we have is already complies with the statute, so it is not going to be intrusive on us at all.
However, opponents of the law believe this is an attack on the right to vote.
In the past, the Missouri voter ID laws have been ruled unconstitutional, so this is an attempt at voter suppression.
Karen sees this bill as another obstacle for Americans who want to vote.
So people need to know that if you want to register more than 10 people, that you've got to register with the Secretary of State before you do that, and it can be a bit tricky because you have to have a fax machine.
In Jasper County, Amber Jenkins, KOAM News.
Among other things, the bill replaces Missouri presidential primaries with caucuses. A U.S. Supreme Court ruling gives states the authority to prosecute non-tribal members who commit crimes against Native Americans on Indian territory. That decision limits a 2020 Supreme Court ruling that determined a large swath of eastern Oklahoma should be considered Indian territory because Congress never de-established the Creek Reservation. Until the ruling, only the federal government had jurisdiction to prosecute non-Native Americans for crimes on tribal land. Leaders from the Intertribal Council of the 5 Civilized Tribes issued a statement in response to the ruling. They call the ruling, quote, disconcerting and shocking, adding, quote, this decision will greatly impact tribal nations not just in Oklahoma, but throughout Indian country, end quote. Oklahoma Governor Kevin Stitt said, quote, I'm heartened that the Supreme Court ruled in our favor, allowing Oklahoma to prosecute non-natives who violate the law and protect Native victims, end quote. Let's check in with Doug Heddy for a first look at the weather.
Well, it definitely turned out to be a hotter day for us today. Temperatures did warm into the low to mid 90s for highs, but still we don't have much in the way of humidity, which is good news. but it's still obviously hot across the region. Nothing going on here, but we do have some waves building out to our west into the central parts of the Rockies, and those are going to start to affect us as we head into the holiday weekend. Look at our temps. Lower 90s right now. Just we don't have much humidity, so our heat index matches what our temperature is across the region. As we go through the evening hours, we're going to slide back through the 90s, 80s. If you want to get outside, it looks fine. It's going to be actually a really nice evening. Then we'll drop back into the 70s, a little bit more mild tonight compared to what we have seen over the past couple nights. Thunderstorm chances for the holiday weekend. We're going to look at that here in just a bit.
Catch you then. A railroad upgrade project in southeast Kansas is designed to benefit Kansas and Oklahoma and Missouri communities. The South Kansas and Oklahoma Railroad today welcomed Senator Jerry Moran to speak at the ribbon cutting for the new Skoll Railway project in Cherryvale. The construction on upgrades of the railway was made possible by a $27 million grant from the U.S. Department of Transportation and will allow railroad companies in the four-state area will improve their operations. The upgrade will allow for bigger and faster trains to be used on the railway.
Every rail car that moves takes 4 trucks off the road. So from an infrastructure standpoint, from a traffic safety standpoint, we view rail as a mode that's got infinite amount of capacity, capability, and also will help preserve infrastructure throughout most municipalities, and that's a challenge in each state.
The construction is expected to be complete by the middle to end of 2023. We're going to hear more from Smith on community benefits tonight on KOAM News at 9 and 10. A family made a heartwarming donation to Mercy Hospital. The family donated a cuddle cot in remembrance of a situation they went through. A cuddle cot is a bed that's refrigerated in a way that can preserve the body of a baby who's stillborn. The cot provides a chance for the families to say goodbye and take photos. This isn't the first cot the family's organization has donated.
In 2017, we officially became a foundation recognized, of course, as a non-for-profit entity. And so since that time, we have been able to, this is the 8th cuddle cot that we have been able to donate to various hospitals.
The family provided the cot in honor of the baby they lost in the hopes that parents who find themselves in the same situation will be able to find comfort in having a little bit more time with their baby. The Oronogo, Missouri Police Department has issued a warning for Facebook Marketplace ads. They say they received reports of homes being listed for rent on the marketplace asking for a deposit. They say the ads they looked at were fraudulent and that they've been reported to Facebook. They also found more fraudulent ads for cars. They warn that before sending any money to any person online, you need to verify the identity of that person posting that ad. Coming up, Downstream Casino hosts a big celebration, plus some kids got out to learn some lessons in fitness. Some area teachers put their skills to the test for the title of Teacher of the Year. The Southwest Center for Educational Excellence hosted the Southwest Missouri Regional Teacher of the Year competition. A dozen local educators took part in the competition, which involved interviews about how they teach. The winners of today's event are going to move on to compete at the state level. This summer heat can be a big reason for sweating. So is exercise. Semiahmoo Public Library took to Rotary Park for a free exercise event for kids. The Kids Fitness Frenzy Days event was for kids ages 8 to 12. Activities included an obstacle course, water balloons, hula hoops, as you saw, and maybe the best part, a healthy snack demonstration.
Oh, health is so important. Kids these days, they're on games. They're sitting at home, they don't want to get outside. It's so important to get them outside and let them know the importance of moving around, eating healthy, and making those better choices.
That event ran from 9:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. Hey, an update on this project. That new antenna weighing 12.5 tons went to the very top of our tower today. For now, we are broadcasting still from a temporary antenna lower on the tower as we prepare to transition to that new, more powerful transmitter soon. Our signal is kind of glitchy for some of you for the time being, but when this project is finished, we're going to be broadcasting with more power than ever. You can check out the progress anytime on our website, KOAMnewsnow.com/power. A little bit later, the Fort Scott, Kansas boys basketball team gets a brand new head coach.
Plus, temperatures heat up and also some rain chances in the forecast. We're going to look at that coming up. Well, of course, it turned out to be a hot day for us today. Not much in the way of humidity, but it doesn't really matter once you get into the 90s for highs. About 93, 94 for most of us during the day for us today. Clear skies, though. Nice shot. You can see our Lander Chevrolet. This is our tower cam southeast side of the city. So we're looking at Interstate 44 east and then, of course, westbound. And looks pretty good. Clear skies across the region. All right, temperatures sitting into lower 90s still. Slow drop as we go through the evening hours. So it was hot today. Could be worse. Humidity could be higher. Those will be some factors as we go into the weekend. Dew points right now measure how much humidity is out there in the atmosphere. You can see we're kind of sitting in that 60 to 65 degree range. Puts us in that not bad to kind of sticky, and that's what we're going to see as we go through the next couple days for us. 93 south winds at about 10, humidity is at 33%. Through the evening hours, we slide back through the 90s, 80s, eventually into the 70s a little bit later on tonight. So a little bit more mild throughout the overnight hours. We had some pretty good nights earlier this week. Clear skies, nothing going on here, nothing going on across Central Plains. We do have some waves developing out across the Rockies, very weak waves, but with a little bit of tropical moisture, this should give us at least chances to pick up some scattered showers and thunderstorms as we head into the weekend. We need the rain. It's very crunchy outside on the grass, but you don't want it on the holiday weekend, but we're going to have at least chances for scattered showers and thunderstorms. Starting into lower 70s, lower 90s by noon. I think during the afternoon, most of us go into the mid-90s for highs. 70 to start, 91 by noon, high temp at 96, southerly winds 5 to 10. On the Missouri side, some isolated thunderstorms trying to pop up. Most of you are going to stay dry, but there are going to be a few isolated thunderstorms. Then tomorrow night, another batch gets going to our north, a much bigger batch, and some of these are going to get into at least the northern half of the four-state area by Saturday morning. So we're going to start Saturday with a lot of clouds, some scattered showers and thunderstorms. Here's 11 a.m. Let's go into Saturday afternoon. I do think we're going to have some isolated thunderstorms. Now, if you're heading to Stockton Lake, Table Rock Lake, Grand Lake, or to the creeks and rivers, we may be dodging a few storms Saturday afternoon. We're going to be hot into the 90s. As we go into Saturday night and Sunday morning, another cluster of storms will affect us. Again, these are going to be scattered, and then by the time we head into Sunday afternoon, we'll have a few more additional hit and miss storms. So we are going to be watching those as we go through the weekend. I think a little drier trend on the 4th of July, but still a few isolated thunderstorms, and the heat really kicks in, upper 90s by Monday. 96 tomorrow, 94s over the weekend, dodging storms. 98 on Monday, 101 on Tuesday, 103 on Wednesday. The humidity kind of starts getting bad again tomorrow, so it is going to be sticky out there over the next week as well.
Sticky, huh?
Sticky, or muggy, or humid, or whatever you want to call it.
I would prefer none of the above.
Yeah,
I don't really want to call it any of those. Thanks, Doug. Still ahead, the Joplin Outlaws return home after 8 straight games on the road. Plus, Fort Scott High School hires a familiar face as its next boys basketball head coach. Jacob Leonard has that and more next.
Well, the Joplin Outlaws are back home tonight after 8 straight games on the road. The Outlaws went 4-4 on the road trip to remain in first place in the Mink League South Division. And Joplin hits the field against the Sedalia Bombers this evening at Joe Becker Stadium. The Outlaws are 1-0 so far this season against Sedalia. First pitch for that one will be at 7 o'clock. We'll have the latest from the game right here tonight at 10. Well, Fort Scott High School has a new boys basketball head coach. Former Parsons head coach Mike Kroll will take over the Tigers program this season. Now, Kroll heads to Fort Scott with 28 years of coaching experience between Lewisburg, Frankfort, the great town of Yates Center, Kansas, and most recently Parsons, where he coached for both the girls and boys programs at different times from 2002 to 2019. But now, after a couple years away from the game, Kroll is ready to jump back into it at Fort Scott.
People had asked me if I missed it. I always said, well, if I missed it, I would have never gotten out of it. But, I talked to Coach Delatorre when that job opened, and it's sort of like you just said, the fire sort of came back, and it came back even stronger over the summer. And I never thought, May the 20th that I'd be sitting here talking about being the head basketball coach at Fort Scott High School. But I'm sort of anxious and really eager to get going.
You can check out our full story with Coach Kroll on the sports page at KOAMnewsnow.com. Well, today's the opening day of NBA free agency, but one of the biggest names in the league may be on the move via trade. Kevin Durant has requested a trade from the Brooklyn Nets today after 3 years with the team. Now, the Phoenix Suns and Miami Heat are reportedly on the short list of teams Durant would like to be traded to. Durant is a two-time NBA champion, two-time Finals MVP, and a 12-time NBA All-Star. But it hasn't really worked out in Brooklyn. They won just one playoff series in his time there, and this season got knocked out, swept actually, by the Boston Celtics in the first round. Finally, big college football news today. USC and UCLA are planning to leave the Pac-12 for the Big Ten Conference. Doesn't really make sense geographically, but whatever. Everybody's going to make a lot of money, so that's how it goes. The two schools could begin competing in the Big Ten as early as 2024. Now, of course, this is the second big change-up in conference alignment in the last year, with Oklahoma and Texas departing the Big 12 for the SEC. And that's a look at sports. We're back with more news after this.
Take some time now to honor a local veteran. Harry Pitzer served in the U.S. Army from 1942 to 1970. Pittsburgh native served in the Pacific Theater in World War II, the Korean War, and the Vietnam War. And we salute Master Sergeant Harry Pitzer, a four-state hero. Of course, you can learn about lots of other heroes from all across this area. 3,000 of them in our database. You can also learn and nominate your own hero anytime. Just go to our website, KOAMnewsnow.com. Downstream Casino today hosted a celebration for indigenous culture. The casino partnered with Quapaw Nation to commemorate the tribe's 150th anniversary powwow with From the Res and Beyond Festival. It's one of the largest celebrations in the country for indigenous culture. The festival included art and music with headlining acts by Alusi Nation, formerly known as a tribe called Red. Here's a look at what's coming up on KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14. If you're planning to travel for the upcoming holiday weekend, well, you better brace yourself. You might run into some headaches. Also a big day for the U.S. Supreme Court. Associate justices welcome their newest addition to the bench, while also releasing rulings on a few remaining cases. And the story of the Stanley Cup delivered to the wrong address for post-championship celebrations. Yep, that and a lot more is coming up your way tonight on KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14. What is the wrong address?
Yeah, that's not good.
That's a boo-boo. Okay, yeah. For all those addresses around here, it's going to be kind of muggy for a while, huh?
It is. The heat index kind of going up as we head into the weekend. Heat index is going to be right around 100 as we head into Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. That is, the heat index, of course, is the way it feels to your skin.
Final sports notes.
You can check out our full story with Mike Kroll, the new head coach for Fort Scott Boys, on our website, KOAMnewsnow.com. We talked about a lot of stuff. We talked about coaching for a former SEK rival now, but a bunch of good stuff, so go check it out.
A lot of folks in Fort Scott and elsewhere will be interested. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you right back here at 10. Let's make it a great evening.